this doing here?
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow students, fellow faculty, members of the public. Welcome to Gaston Hall in this event organized by the Program for Jewish Civilization in the Foreign Service School here at Georgetown University. And thank you for coming out on a night like this. It's a tribute both to the urgency and importance of the topic and the quality, insights, and reputation of our speaker that so many of you have come out in this appalling weather. I'm Robert Lieber. I'm a professor of government and international affairs, and I chair the executive committee of the Program for Jewish Civilization. A word about the program itself, then a couple of comments and the introduction of our speaker. In keeping with Georgetown's mission to promote a deeper understanding of the world's religious communities and their role in global affairs, the Program for Jewish Civilization was established 5 years ago here at Georgetown within the SFS. Rabbi Harold White, my colleague Yossi Shane, and others were instrumental in doing this. It's now a flourishing program directed by Professor Jacques Berliner-Blau and his assistant, our Deputy Director, Melissa Weinberg-Spence. And we have a 24-member executive committee drawn from prominent senior faculty members across the 3 campuses of Georgetown, the main campus, law, and medicine. The program benefits from the expertise of these faculty, as well as prominent visiting scholars and practitioners who teach courses, conduct research, and take part in public events such as this. In 2005, the SFS established an undergraduate certificate in Jewish civilization, a kind of minor, and a similar minor was established in the College of Arts and Sciences the following year. The program, the PJC as it's called, has conducted an ambitious schedule of public programs, including weekly lectures, an endowed lecture on Catholic-Jewish relations, which certainly fits Georgetown as a Catholic and Jesuit university quite neatly, and 2 important yearly conferences that bring together internationally renowned scholars in partnership with Georgetown faculty. The PJC also publishes a series of occasional papers with contributions by leading authors, public intellectuals, and religious leaders. And it co-sponsors with a multitude of the other centers, organizations, and departments on campus and beyond. In this academic year, last semester, we had, among others, a full-time visiting professor, Ambassador Dennis Ross, who is, well, let me continue. Dennis will not be available to teach this semester. We anticipate, for obvious reasons, if so, America's gain is Georgetown's loss. And this academic year, Professor Michael Oren, who is here with us full-time this year. The subject, as I said, of tonight is quite fascinating, important, and certainly controversial. A word about the subject. The latest poll from CNN, which appeared at the beginning of this week, showed that 63% of Americans felt that Israel was justified in taking military action, compared with 30% who disagreed. Meanwhile, a poll by the Pew Foundation found that among those Americans expressing an opinion, 49% expressed sympathy with Israel, 11% for the Palestinians. No doubt, opinions here will reflect a division of views, as is evident among the American public, and that certainly some of these views may be very strongly held by those here in the audience, as elsewhere on campus and in our country. On that point about strong feelings and the rest, I think it behooves me to say something about Georgetown's speech and expression policy. There is a plaque at the University of Wisconsin that describes the purpose of the university. It's a statement from the Board of Regents at the end of the 19th century as the sifting and winnowing of ideas. Georgetown, in its speech policy, expresses pretty much the same point. I won't review the whole policy. It would intrude too much on the talk we're about to hear. But let me paraphrase some of the key points, just a few sentences from that policy statement of the university. It begins by noting that central to the university's being is discourse, discussion, and debate. Freedom of speech and expression includes the right to express points of view on the widest range of public and private concerns and to engage in the robust expression of ideas. And that is what any good university or first-rate university is all about. The policy also makes clear that the right of free speech and expression does not include any activity that disrupts or obstructs. Expressions may not violate the speaker's right to free speech, nor the audience's right to see and hear a speaker. At the end of Michael Oren's speech, we will have a microphone in the center aisle where those of you in the audience who wish to ask a question will have the opportunity to do so as part of a dialogue, debate, and what have you. I'll ask that at that time, those of you lining up to ask questions, identify yourself and ask your question succinctly and concisely so that others will have an opportunity as well. Let me also ask that everyone please silence your pagers, cell phones, or other electronic gadgets so that all of us may listen to Michael Oren's talk uninterrupted. Michael Oren, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, and although I suspect this turnout suggests that most of you are, is a remarkable individual. He is senior fellow at the Shalem Center, a Jerusalem-based research facility where he specializes in diplomatic and military history of the Middle East. He has written extensively for the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and the New Republic, of which he is a contributing editor, and has been interviewed on CNN, Fox, The Charlie Rose Show, The Daily Show, and Today. In addition, he is the CBS Middle East expert. Michael is a graduate of Princeton and Columbia and has received fellowships in the past from the U.S. Departments of State and Defense, from the British and Canadian governments, from Hebrew University, and from Tel Aviv University. In 2006, he was a visiting professor at Harvard and Yale. He returned to Yale in 2007, where the semester he was there, he taught the largest undergraduate course on the Yale campus. He has also testified before Congress on Middle Eastern affairs and has briefed the White House. Dr. Oren is author of 6 Days of War, June 1967, and the Making of the Modern Middle East. I can say that that book is an extraordinary accomplishment. Michael draws on documents, archives, and interviews from every one of the belligerents and those involved in any way of the June 1967 war. It's a remarkable and definitive volume. It was published in 2002, was a New York Times bestseller, and won a series of prizes and awards. His most recent book, now in paperback, is Power, Faith, and Fantasy, America in the Middle East, 1776 to the present. It was on the New York Times bestseller for 8 weeks and won a Council for the Humanities Book Award. Michael teaches 2 courses here this semester, one on precisely that topic, America in the Middle East since 1776, another about military conflicts in the region. He was raised in New Jersey, where he was active in Zionist youth movements. He was a gold medal winning athlete in the Maccabiah Games, and he moved to Israel in the 1970s.